All right, you'll take it. Not a thing of beauty. I hate to be a Debbie Downer. There's nothing I saw in this game that impressed me. You beat a team that's got 4 wins on the road, and you had to scratch and claw to do it. I understand you haven't had practices. You got new pieces, but this team's going to have to be a hell of a lot better to make a run here. They do win, though, 123-118. The start of this game was embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing.
It was about as bad as you can get. There was zero energy. The Kings, I know they played a lot of games as of late, but to come out on a Saturday night and to play that way defensively, no pressure, boo birds in the second quarter for a little bit. Yeah. But Grant, the effort, Jake LaRavia, when he came in, changed things a little bit, and everybody picked up on that tone from there.
Yeah, the bench turned this game around when they needed it.
No doubt.
But boy, I don't know what the hell's going on with the team when they start. You know, it's the only thing more embarrassing than that, based on my timeline and my personal chat messages and emails, is the Kings broadcast team. That's the only thing that was more embarrassing than the start to this game. I mean, it's embarrassing. The league needs to step in and do something about this. They really do.
I don't know what to say at this point for Katie, and I'm trying to take up for her as much as I can.
She's embarrassing.
You can't anymore. As a fan, if I am watching basketball with my son, and my son is learning the game of basketball, that is supposed to be an expert telling you what's going on, telling you a rule, telling you that this is why it is not a foul for a minute and a half. And then the review starts taking longer, Grant.
She doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. I mean, I'm just sorry. She has no idea what the hell she's talking about. And I've told you this, and I like Katie, but I'm done with this crap because I'm tired of my phone blowing up every game. I have a lot of referees in the league that I still stay in touch with. Okay? They despise her. They watch the games. They think she's an embarrassment, and they said she's wrong most of the time. This is the NBA. It's not high school. Do better. It's embarrassing.
She was talking about the big man for the Pelicans, who's a rookie, and in the fourth quarter, he had only had 1 foul, and it's all this passive aggressiveness. Wow, a rookie. He must be well-respected because Domas is getting beat up, which he is, but are you taking into account that the Kings came out and were not aggressive at all until the end of the third or the first quarter? And it is what it is when you start that way.
The people that say stop hating, you know what? If you don't like it, go watch another show. All right? On this show, you get objective commentary. It's not based on personal bias. It's based on objectivity. It's based on what a lot of people are saying. I didn't watch the game. I will not watch a Kings telecast, but you should see my phone during this game and all the messages about how embarrassing it is. You as a Kings fan deserve better. It's not me hating. It's being objective. If you don't like it, go watch another show.
Amen. Amen. It's not going to change anytime soon, but that was bad. And the Zion, talking about his weight as much as she did in the first half, borderline fat shaming Zion. I'm just going to say it. And not knowing that he came into camp this year
in great shape,
the lightest he's ever been. Injury prone's one thing. Maybe you didn't help yourself out in the past, but to be doing that, come on, man.
How close are we to have Keon Ellis in the starting lineup?
It's Jerry Reynolds said you got to do it, and I am pretty much right there with her, and that was brought up on the broadcast as well. It doesn't matter who starts. Yada, yada, yada. With this team, it does, because you need the defensive energy. You need the pressure right off the bat. You can't let teams get comfortable, Grant. That's exactly what New Orleans did tonight.
Wow. Here is the problem with New Orleans, besides the fact that they have the worst record in the Western Conference, is a guy like Zion Williamson, who dominated the game when he was on the floor tonight.
Yeah.
Only played 28 minutes because he can't, you know what I mean? Like, sure. That's the problem.
Sure. And he doesn't play back-to-backs.
No.
So when you go to New Orleans, you're only going to see him one time.
Assuming he doesn't get hurt between now and then.
Great point.
But you're right. You'll either see him the first night or the second night.
Yep. So I don't know if that makes the team more scary or not. Grant, CJ McCollum.
Scary? That New Orleans, there's nothing about it.
Are you freaking kidding me?
You see their record?
Yes, but Grant, they play the Kings well. The Kings it's a tough game every single time, whether it's the matchups, even when they were in New Orleans. CJ did exactly in New Orleans what he almost did tonight, where he almost brought them back in the fourth quarter. So anything goes.
I listen, it's only 3 games with limited practices.
Yeah.
I don't see the Kings making any moves up the standings here. I just don't. When I mean up the standings, more than a spot or 2. I could see them as a play-in.
Yeah.
But they're not any better than that if they even make the play-in. How about Jimmy Butler tonight?
I did not see.
Oh my God. He was great. The Warriors with Jimmy Butler look like now you got to contend with them. Dallas won. Anthony Davis left the game in the third quarter with some type of injury to his leg.
Right.
Shocking. You see all the protests and everything outside of Dallas. You know that their general manager has had death threats and has around-the-clock security. Wow.
I do. Grant, there's a lot of money that gets bet on these games before these games are played. People bet futures. People bet all these different things. And think about trading Luka if you got a ticket in your hand for even Dallas to win their division, not even their conference.
So, how about Houston? They've lost 6 in a row now as Dallas beat them 116-105. This was a huge night for Sacramento because Golden State won, all right? Minnesota won. And, you need to keep pace and, with these teams. So this was another reason why tonight's game was so important.
And I think tonight, too, was maybe it should. Now, Devin Carter did not play tonight. So that was actually something that I thought was a right call by Doug. But you saw different combinations, and it was not the starting 5 that you put out that thrived in this game. Now, they did well at points, but this is where Doug Christie, Grant, needs to go and say, all right, how do I rework the rotations? What do I like about these 3 guys on the court? Because what happened in that third quarter was all because of hustle. That run started because of hustle, and that run was maintained because of hustle and physicality, getting to the free throw line 18 times in the quarter, Grant.
I would not expect anything from Devin Carter the rest of this year. I don't see it. Now every game is almost like a playoff type of a game. And Doug's going to go with the guys that he can depend on. And right now, I'm sorry, he can't depend on Devin Carter.
No, you can't. But I really liked, and let's not go overboard with LaRavia, but his energy, I really like keeping plays alive. He fits in very well for what this bench needs. He can shoot as well. So we've got a ton of calls lined up. We are going to get to all of you in a minute. If you want to get in the queue to call the show right now, do so. Just scan the QR code that we are putting in the chat. Let's hit our super chats first. We like to get as many chats up as we can, but the super chats pop up differently. So we're going to hit those because they come on our screen. So they do get preferential treatment on this show only. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Jason. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you for that. I know AB had one in there as well. See if we can scroll up really quick. AB, we'll get yours up in a second. Let's kick the phone calls off while we do so. Eric, welcome in tonight. Eric, come on, you're leading off. Kazzy knows what he's doing. What's up, Kazzy?
All right, so I'm not really fond of Devin Carter. I don't know. I don't have much expectations from him as far as him as a future as a King. I'd probably rather have Davion Mitchell back. You said you want to put Keon Ellis in the starting lineup. Okay, who do you take out?
I'm with Jerry. I think it's DeMar DeRozan.
Okay, that's fair. And then so I was listening to your postgame last night because I couldn't watch it live, and you were complaining about Katie in that postgame, and then now this postgame. What are you guys complaining about?
She's terrible, and she her job is to be accurate, and she gets replay reviews wrong on a consistent basis and maligns the referees. And an announcer in the NBA should not malign the referees. They should not put down the referees. It is unprofessional, especially when you're wrong as much as she is. It's unprofessional.
Why don't you share your story about when you were wrong once?
About what?
I'm talking to Grant. Nate, share your story when you got a call wrong.
I got a call wrong at Madison Square Garden in New York. the last play of the game that cost the Kings a game, we sit across from the scorer's table at Madison Square Garden. Dan Crawford, one of the best referees in the NBA, made a call, and I thought it was a foul on Corliss Williamson. And where I was sitting, there was no way in the world that Corliss Williamson committed a foul. And I was pretty harsh on Dan Crawford. Game over. We go to a commercial break. During the commercial break, I see that I got it wrong, that Dan Crawford did not call a foul on Corliss. He called an illegal screen out of bounds on Corliss. I come back on the thing,
Grant.
Wait, stop. I come back. I apologize on air and saying, hey, Dan was right. I was wrong. 3 weeks later, I see Dan Crawford at a game we're going to, and I walk up to him and I go, Dan, I owe you an apology. He goes, what? I go, I got the call wrong in New York, and I want you to know that I went on the postgame show and apologized. And he said to me, Grant, you're all good with me. You don't have to apologize, but I really appreciate it. Don't worry. You're a stand-up guy. We appreciate you. That's what he said. Anyway, go ahead.
I do. Even when you were calling games, Grant, like during the DeMarcus era, I remember you would get on the ref sometimes.
If it's warranted.
Hey, I have a lot of friends that are referees in the NBA. They're fine when you get on them when they're wrong. They're absolutely fine with that. But they're not fine with.
So are you saying that Katie does this prematurely?
I'm saying that she's wrong more than she's right. That's what I'm saying.
So more premature.
Kazi, that's exactly what Kazi, what's happening is, and this is probably going to be the last that we keep going with this because there was a lot of good to talk about and some bad that we need to get to. But Kazi, she reacts immediately, tells you that's not a foul, explains for a minute why it's not a foul, and then reverses position if she sees another angle. In fact, you know what? I need to see another angle of that is the new line that basically means cover my ass because I don't know if I'm right.
That's fair. That's fair.
So it's just the review was a perfect example. And unfortunately, she's drawing Draper in. And I feel bad for Draper. He's not really doing it. He's letting her go. So somebody just needs to say something. So, hey, Kazi, appreciate you, brother.
Addy.
Good job by Kazi.
All right, I want to get to this. How does Grant know without watching? Because I have a phone with countless number of messages documenting what is going on. And all of these people cannot be wrong. That's how I know.
Let's kick it to, this is an interesting one. Rabane? What's up, man?
What's up, guys? It's pronounced Rabani.
Rabani.
Yeah. How are you, Rabani?
Hey, I'm doing great, Grant. It's a pleasure seeing you, Grant. I've been a Kings fan since 2002, Mike Bibby era. Hop on the bandwagon. Been on since then. You know, Tyreek the Freak Evans, that era, everything. Quick comments, dude. The way Doug Christie, like this is the first game that we had with a real team, with everybody we know going forward in a sense, right? So Doug Christie has some interesting rotations. That last quarter, he sat DeMar down for like 3 to 4 minutes. I don't know, probably less than that. And then he brought him in to do exactly what he wanted him to do. Somebody to close the damn game.
Great point.
Right? Now, before that, what he did was he had to run Keon Ellis. Right? He ran Keon Ellis those couple minutes. I had me thinking, is it time for DeMar to come off the bench to save our season even more? Because our bench is strong. So I want to get off. I want you guys to talk about that. Grant, thank you, Ryan. Thank you for having this too every night. I love you guys. You guys have a good one, man.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, Rabane. Make sure you call back. We'd love to hear from you again.
I'm going to answer this real quickly.
Yeah.
The most important part of this would be whether or not DeMar would accept it or not. Some players just do not accept being a starter your whole career and then all of a sudden coming off the bench. Some guys can't handle it. With their ego, they're proud, all kinds of. I've seen it. I've seen it both ways.
I don't think DeMar came here to come off the bench. Obviously, he was recruited by the 3 stars of the team, core of the team, faces of the team. But for the Kings to win, here's the reality. The only way that the Kings get the game to the place where they want it is when they force turnovers and get in transition. DeMar defensively is not that guy, number one. And number two, it's a different game stylistically. It's quicker. The Kings are able to get out and do things. What Keon Ellis did tonight, multiple steals, creating on the break. You can't play that way with DeMar. You're going more ISO, Grant, to start the game. And you don't want to come out of the gate slow. You've got to turn transition defense into offense.
Amen. You got 3 games left before the All-Star break, all on the road, including these Pelicans twice. And the Dallas game's coming up next. We don't know about Anthony Davis. That would obviously be huge.
It would be very huge. You know what? Go into the break, be at least 500 or better. That's what I'm looking at. Can you get to the break at 500 names?
I watch the game. I don't watch the Kings feed. Do you see the difference? I watch the road team's feed. I don't watch the Kings telecast.
You can do that?
I can do that.
Bryce, Matthew, Essie, who has been on the DeMar train for a minute. Jay, we're all coming to you first. GP.
Hey, how you guys doing?
How are you?
Good. Glad we could squeeze by these Pelicans, man. Thorn in our side last season.
They're a completely different team this year.
I think Valanciunas really helps with the second unit there.
He's very, very good. He's a hell of a player.
He's a hell of a leader, too.
Yeah. We got to let you go. We have a
talk about
GP.
Call back. We'll see if we can get you a better connection, but you're going in and out. So thank you very much.
He's going Jerry Reynolds on us from a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Jay,
our
what's
guards
up
need
tonight,
to
man?
pick up on.
What's going on? How you guys doing?
Hey, Jay.
Well, first of all,
came
God
into
bless
the
Jerry
game.
Reynolds. You know, he comes on at halftime.
Look
He's
to
really
shut the water
loves the fans, loves this
off
organization.
on McCollum.
And I love that. And obviously, he's a savant compared to what I know in basketball. You know, I've played basketball for a very long time, but he's a savant with this game. And surprisingly, I'm going to go against the grain, and I'm going to say that I disagree with DeMar DeRozan coming off of the bench. Now, and when we're talking about perspective, right, and what's the smart thing to do, obviously, this is going to sound funny, but sometimes the smart thing to do is not to do the smart thing to do. You don't want to risk, messing up this locker room, this chemistry. And let's look at the other side of the ball, right?
What chemistry? They're 500. What chemistry are we talking about? I don't see any chemistry.
Well, the chemistry that we're trying to build. And I agree. Obviously, we don't.
What chemistry? There is no chemistry.
Yeah, and I can see that on the court. But I think you understand where I'm going with this. When we're 10 games down the line, and you have a DeMar DeRozan, this Hall of Famer coming off the bench, it's just I don't know if that's the best move.
Ryno Ginobili came off the bench.
Yeah, and so did Andre Iguodala and lots of Hall of Famers.
Yeah, guess what? The last time I checked, they're pretty good.
Yeah, oh yeah, obviously, yes, I agree. But if we look at the other side of the ball, he has a lot of pull, a lot of gravity offensively. Sending a lot of doubles, a lot of help sliding over. It's really, if we can knock down the 3-point shooting, I mean, you might look at maybe we should. I mean, you played DeMar for 5 minutes, let him start, just for the psyche of the game, and then you take him out a little bit early around the 6.5 minute mark, and you play Keon. Keon's going to get his minutes regardless. He's got 30+ minutes so far, but I would be a little bit reluctant just to pull the trigger on saying, "Hey, DeMar, go on the bench," for a little bit. In fact, and Ryno, I get what you're saying. I love watching the transition game with Zach LaVine. Super athletic. You got Monk out there, fast, quick. Keon out there. We're off to the races out there with all three of those guys. But if I had to pick between LaVine and DeMar, I would go with LaVine just because DeMar, he knows the system a little bit better right now than LaVine does, and I guess you could say he has seniority over LaVine coming in at this trade deadline.
Yeah, here's, as funny as it sounds, and I don't disagree with some of the context you're saying, if I'm looking at the future of the Kings and we're worried about who we're going to upset, I'm probably going to lean more towards not pissing off Zach LaVine, because that's a contract you're stuck with for the most part, unless he completely outperforms it. DeMar might not be back this next year. We don't know. And I
Yeah.
think DeMar's contract still has value.
Mhm.
So at the end of the day, I think you got to do what's best for the team. But he did. It was brought up to him in an interview that hypothetically, if Mike Brown asked you that, what was your reaction? And he laughed.
I
Like,
saw that.
it's a joke,
I
like
saw
he was
that,
not
and
happy.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he did laugh, and maybe he did ask DeMar, and that could be part of the reason why he was out. That's what I heard, because he didn't answer it. He just said, "Did he? I don't know. I'm not sure if he asked." So I don't.
You could tell he wasn't cool with it either.
He was not cool with it, guys.
Yeah.
So before the chat gets on me, please go look up that interview.
Yeah.
Quickly. Also, if Jack LaRavia keeps playing the way he's playing, you got to figure out how to sign him. I don't know if we have bird rights to his contract or not, but you're gonna have to figure out how to sign him.
Can we calm down a little bit? Can we calm down a little bit?
Like that? If he keeps
playing. Stop it. Can we calm down a little bit? Are you making a comment like that after one game? Please.
He had the greatest.
Watching Kevin Huerter come off that bench and stinking up for the past 2 seasons. Yeah, we're pretty happy.
You're okay. Great. It's a good thing you're not a general manager. You know that? It's a good thing you're not a general manager.
Napes, he had the best 1-minute debut in Kings history. 5 points, a block, and a steal.
What? There should be a special ceremony for him at the next home game, and his jersey should be raised to the rafters.
I'll say I'm a better GM than the Dallas Mavericks GM, but anyway,
How
Dallas.
Do you know that? You don't know that yet. It may end up working.
Surprisingly, they look great.
You got to give it a chance.
Yeah, they look pretty good, actually. So anyway, I'll hop out. There's tons of calls.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
You're the man, Jay. Appreciate you. It's an interesting conversation. And if Jerry says it's DeMar, I'm with him there. But
here's the other deal. If I'm Doug Christie, Doug is an interim head coach. Doug does not have a job past this year as a head coach. Doug needs to do what is best for the team, regardless of worrying about someone's feelings. Because if he does what's best for the team and it works, he's got a better chance of getting a contract to remain the head coach of the Kings. So he better do things his way and not based on what Monty McNair or maybe Vivek or somebody else is saying.
Well, you bring up a really interesting point, because I think that's the crossroads, right? Maybe we're going to learn something about Doug Christie, because Keon being so similar in what they bring to the game, Doug was a better playmaker. There's no way that Doug is not seeing how important having that element in a starting lineup is to start the game off that way. So if he doesn't choose to go that way, or it's not addressed, I think it makes for an interesting dynamic. It's just pretty obvious. It's hard. A lot of people saying the same thing. Let's go to Essie, who started the conversation here ahead of everybody else. What's up, Essie?
What's going on? I don't want to take credit like it was my original idea. No, a lot of people were saying Keon needs to start since the beginning of the season, but I'm just glad that he's getting his minutes in. I did listen to Katie I think it was very early on in the game, or maybe before the game started, saying that all those people saying Keon needs to start, need to relax, he's going to get his minutes. I'm like, give it a break. I mean, I went to UCSB. I'm a gaucho. I love you, Katie, but stop with that. Number one. Number two, I wanted to make a lot of points which people have already made, so I'm going to skip over that. And all I'm going to say is I think Doug needs to focus on getting the players to stop complaining about not getting a call, because I can't recall a game where a ref has been like, oh, my bad, let me blow the whistle when everyone's on the other side of the court. Just stop your bitching and complaining, get on the other side, and let either Doug complain to the refs or complain to the refs when it's a dead ball. They're going to hear you out either way. But if you're sitting there complaining on one end of the court while your rest of your teammates are playing 4-on-5, that's not fair to your teammates. They're going to foul. Your whole team basically suffers because of it. So,
and Doug rarely complained. Doug rarely complained. When he guarded the other team's best guy, Kobe Bryant, whomever, he rarely complained. He would just raise his hand and he would shake his head and let's go. And I like that about him when he played.
Or it was an uppercut.
Yeah.
And one more thing I want to say is I was watching towards the end of the Spurs game, and with it less than 2 minutes left, De'Aaron drives and gets the ball ripped from him. And a lot of my friends who are Spurs fans were telling me, like, what's going on here? I'm like, you guys have no idea, but you'll see. You'll see. De'Aaron's good, but my observation of him was a lot of sort of, except for the year he won the clutch award, there was a lot of driving in, and like everybody in the stadium knows what he's going to do. He's going to drive it in, so they collapse on him and they take the ball right away from him. So, yeah, the Spurs lost last two of their games, and I mean, it's not like I don't want De'Aaron to be successful, but I'm one of the fans that's not very happy about what he did when he left. I'm not talking about the Castle interview. I'm talking about when you're still in Minnesota, you drop an ad for your shoe and you have the Spurs boot in it. He knew he was going to go way before he went. He taped that at least 2 or 3 weeks before he was traded. So, anyways, I'll get off my
Thank you.
soapbox. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Appreciate
Hey,
you.
before we move on, I want to tell you about some of our great sponsors that we are blessed to have right here on If You Don't Like That. Of course, New Works Plumbing, they've been with us from day one, and they are available for your plumbing needs and repairs around the clock, 24/7. You go to the phone number, best way to get a hold of them, the website. But just remember, whenever you need plumbing issues, repairs, they are there for you. That is New Works Plumbing. They've got a fix for you. Hey, Super Bowl Sunday, right?
Oh yeah.
Maybe get down to Bennett's for the brunch before Super Bowl Sunday. Enjoy yourself. Great meal at Bennett's, prime seafood and steaks. Say hello to Brian and the folks. We appreciate that. Don't forget, you go to bennettsrestaurants.com. Make a reservation for your brunch tomorrow. And whenever you want to go, you are going to get a great meal, lunch, dinner, prime seafood and steaks, whether it's the West Side Grill in Rockland or Roseville or Sacramento. Bennett's, they're awesome. bennettsrestaurants.com.
Yeah, and if you don't get a proper meal during the Super Bowl and you're tired of snacking, prime rib tomorrow night after 3 p.m. So good.
Oh, you're killing me.
All 3 locations. All right, we've got a lot of people waiting. Matthew, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Good. With all these callers talking about to Keon start, I personally agree with that. Just because I feel like Keon has a bit more of a defensive edge to that starting lineup, where the starting lineup as it is right now, Keegan's like the only real good defender on there.
Mm-hmm.
And with Keon in there, as you guys said, he's very active, very jumpy, gets a lot of deflections, helps the team get out and run, which is where I think they thrive. I don't know if you guys agree with me on that or not, but that's fun to say that.
Yeah, and here's the other thing that nobody's brought up yet. Keon has the ability to guard multiple positions, even though he's smaller. So it really helps in the switch game. DeMar, not so much.
Yeah, that's true. And I also want to get your guys' opinion on this because we talked about this in the past few post-game shows, not me specifically, but like just discussions. The opposing team's 3-point percentage has been very high in the last few games for the other teams.
Yeah.
And the Pelicans started, I think it was 8-14 or something to start the game, and they ended at 39%. I just want to get your guys' thoughts on why you think other teams are shooting so well from 3. If it's like just shooting luck, if it's scheme.
No, it's not shooting luck because it's been going on all year. Not every team the Kings play is lucky. It's bad defense.
Yeah, that's true. It also happened last year too. I think they were the second worst team at
bad defense.
So
bad defense. That's exactly what it is.
They shot 50% in the first quarter. They were 6 of 12. The Kings right now, because of their inability to switch, they're hanging off, and they're really worried about Domas getting into foul trouble. So the amount of space that is between, you saw it really a lot in Portland, between the ball handler and the Kings defender is almost inexcusable in a 3-point shooting league many times. So once you get a team, Grant, you know this, once you get guys going, they're going to keep going, especially if they're not a hot shooter on the game plan.
Amen. Yep.
So,
right. All right. Well, that's all I had tonight.
Appreciate you. Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you.
Good job by him. We roll along. Bryce, welcome on to the show tonight.
Hey guys, how are you?
Good, thank you.
I first of all, just want to have a big sigh of relief after this game because we should have just stepped on their throat and put them away after we got up 18.
Yeah.
But apparently the Kings don't know how to put teams away yet. So that's unfortunate, but hopefully later on in the year we will be
They
able
don't know how to
to.
put teams away because they're an average team. That's why.
Yeah, exactly. I love who we added. I totally agree with Laravia. He banked in a 3, airballed 2 threes. Like, the offense needs to come still. He's young, but defensive and energy, he looked really good, which is good. I also want to go back. I've been saying this to my girlfriend for the last 2 years about Katie Christensen. I do not like her as a broadcaster. I think she gets too involved when she shouldn't be, and she feels like she's a part of the game, and she's kind of biased, in my opinion. I think she's biased, Kings biased, which is fair. I mean, she's a Kings announcer, but what are your guys? I mean, I heard your guys' thoughts, so.
I don't need to add anything that I have not already said.
I think she overshares in some situations. There was a big shot tonight in the game, and it's just a small example. And CJ McCollum was talking a little bit of junk, and she's like, "Oh, did you even see Valanciunas on the Kings bench smiling at that one?" You don't need to share that because you don't want to draw attention to that. You know what I mean? It's just, yeah, it is what it is. Hey, appreciate you.
Yeah, and then last thing, sorry if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I want to see Keon start. I really do, but I don't know how, because we're not a consistent offensive team. So when we get in those struggles, we go to DeMar. But if we start off slow with Keon in the starting lineup, we have no one to really slow the ball down to get into a nice rhythm. You know what I mean?
Keon's your second, but can you turn your audio down?
We'll just say thank you very much.
Yeah,
thank
thanks,
you for
Bryce.
calling the show. That's how we turn the audio down.
Yeah, so much feedback. Keon's one of your best 3-point shooters on this team this year. If you're thinking about getting 3-point shooting going, but it's the defense that turns the offense. Grant, they had 11 fast break points in that third quarter. That's a lot for a quarter.
And we do appreciate the call and the questions. Thank you very much. Call again. Appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks, Bryce. Phil, what's up tonight, Phil?
Hey, what's up, fellas? Hey,
up, dude?
good
Hey, Phil.
win. Good win.
A
I've
must
been
win.
I've been wanting this for years. The Kings need an enforcer. And I know, there was talks about Draymond Green signing with them, and I was a huge fan of that because of the mentality that he'd bring to that team. And I'm not telling you that Valanciunas is the same type of player as Draymond Green, but he brings that intensity and he brings that attitude of don't mess with my team. And I think we saw that tonight. I think we saw that. I think we saw that in his first game. My concern, though, is I think Sabonis in every game that he's played with Valanciunas now, he's fouled out, right? Or did he foul tonight? He did, right?
He did.
Yeah, he fouled out.
Yeah, so he fouled out 2 games in a row, right? Am I wrong?
He
With
did.
Valanciunas. With
You're right.
Valanciunas. Yeah, so I think that, it's his countrymen. That those guys, I love seeing them play together. I love that attitude, but I think that Sabonis, it's almost like, all right, man, my boy's here. Like, let's go. And I'm not saying that all those there's some of those foul calls that could go the other way, but we're not talking about like that. Those foul calls is a foul call. But I think that once they get in a rhythm together, they could be nasty. Like it could be a nasty duo. I think they just got to find their rhythm, but I'm excited to see that. But I've always said that the Kings have needed that enforcer where they need someone that's going to protect the team and they're going to stick up for them like a Draymond Green does for the Warriors. Valanciunas could play a similar role for the Kings, but I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
I like Valanciunas. I've always liked him. I don't know if I would call him an enforcer, but he's definitely something or somebody that the Kings did not have that they now have. He does have a tendency to get in foul trouble himself. Like tonight, he played 14 minutes and had 4 fouls. But you know what you're going to get with Valanciunas. He doesn't make stupid mistakes. He doesn't. You just like if you're a coach and you put him in the game, you know what you're going to get. He's very dependable.
He gets his money's worth on his fouls, though.
Yes,
there's no doubt about that. So, hey, appreciate you, Phil.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
So, really quick, we're gonna go to Ryan's drawing board or Ryno's drawing board. Not going to be a lot of drawing. It's just going to be some illustrations. And to his point, Phil's point about Sabonis fouling out, we're having the same problems every game. To your right, you have a perfect example in the third quarter of how a pick and roll is supposed to work. Look at Zach LaVine finally coming right off of Valanciunas' shoulder. Now, they have played together before, so that's important to note. But look in the fourth quarter to your left. That is the same play. Look at how much space between LaVine and Sabonis there is there. Sabonis was called for the offensive foul. The big man is always going to get called more times than not when there is that much space because you either take a little step out, you're trying to get closer to your teammate, give him an advantage. That has been the problem with Sabonis's foul trouble this year. Right there. So that's going to come, Grant, with practice time. That's going to come with practice time. They're going to learn each other, but that has to get better. And too many times in that first quarter, to these guys not knowing the spots that they like, guys are rejecting screens that you absolutely need to take. And so that comes with minutes. That comes with system that Doug Christie still needs to implement.
They're going to have to get it done soon. They're running out of time. Again, tomorrow you got to board an airplane, right?
Yep.
You got to fly to Dallas. You have very little time for practice. Don't know if Anthony Davis is going to play or not. We'll see. He said after the game he wasn't worried about it and thought he was fine. So we'll see. You never know with Anthony Davis. But he was really good tonight. He was really, really good for the Mavericks tonight.
He was good until he got hurt on that non-contact injury. Miejo, you got to pay attention.
That's terrible.
Come on. We just showed you. He's one of the best screeners in the league. If you can't run pick and roll with Sabonis, you've got a problem with
big
yourself.
Time problem.
I guess Kevin, you know what? Okay. I guess I'll try it. Kevin Durant. What's up, Kevin Durant?
Hey, what's up, Ryan?
What's up, dude?
What's up, Grant? Grant, you're a legend, by the way. You're a legend.
Well, you're a legend, Kevin Durant. You're been an MVP. You got rings. You're a legend. I'm not a legend. Kevin Durant, you're a legend.
I appreciate you. Hey, but I have a suggestion for you, Grant.
I'm afraid, but go ahead.
Don't be afraid. Grant, I'm a fan. But anyways, Grant, your rants are the best. I remember back in the days you made a fat rant. Can we get a fat rant part 2? Can we get a fat rant part 2 today? It'll make my night.
Yes, you can. I'm going to do it right now, okay? All right, here we go. My rant is brought to you by EDH Motors Automotive Reimagined. And I want to tell you about what Adam on the left and David on the right can do for you. If you are looking to sell your vehicle, they're ready to make you an offer. Consign, sell, trade, their new vehicle brokerage. So again, you have a vehicle you're looking to sell, give them a call, go to their website, and they also will find the perfect ride for you if you're looking for a new vehicle. Whether it's new or pre-owned, economy to exotic, they can assist you with your car needs. Whether you're buying, trading, or selling, we've got you covered at El Dorado Hills Motors. That's their slogan, all right? So again, if you're looking to sell your vehicle, just go to their website, give them a call. They are awesome. Kevin Durant, you wanted me to do a rant? Here's my rant. What is the reason why you would have a social media account, in this case, joining us on YouTube, and use Kevin Durant? Like, what? Help me out here. You don't sound like you're a kid. You don't sound like you're my age. Thank goodness you got many years ahead of you, hopefully. What's the deal? Why can't you just put your name? Why do you got to put Kevin Durant? Like, what is that all about? Like, I'm a big fan of Marv Albert. You know, I don't put on my social media account instead of Grant Napier, Marv Albert. I put Grant Napier. What's your name? It's not Kevin Durant. What's your name? And I see other people here with these names, you know, trying to be cutesy. What's the deal with being cutesy? Like, I don't understand this. Help me out, Kevin Durant. Why do you have that as your name on your social media accounts or whatever the hell you're using? So that's my rant. It's not a fat rant, Kevin Durant. And by the way, Kevin, I know that this might hurt your feelings, but to me, you haven't accomplished anything in your career. Nothing. Are you a very, very exceptional talent? Yes, you are. Gifted? Yes. There's nothing that you've done in your career that has kind of made me go, wow. You joined the Warriors when they were already a championship caliber team, right? They had already won. They won before you, and they won after you. You went to Brooklyn, you did nothing. You're in Phoenix, nothing. In Oklahoma City, good, no doubt about it, but it wasn't good enough for you. You had to jump on the easy path, Kevin Durant. Yeah, let's join a team that's already a championship team. No problem. Let me get all the accolades. No problem. You know what, to me, I was impressed with more than anything, Kevin Durant? Your first game in the Olympics in Paris. I thought you were great. It was probably the first time in my basketball career, so to speak, that I said, wow. I was just like, you know what, Kevin? That was impressive. Being hurt, not playing, missing all the lead up to the Olympics, and they don't win that game without you. That impressed me. What you did with the Warriors didn't impress me. They were already a championship team. But back to you, fake Kevin Durant. Help me out. What's the deal with Kevin Durant instead of your name? Help me out. I don't get it. I don't understand. And that's my rant for tonight.
Ryno, mommy, daddy button.
What else do I say, Ryno? Ryno, we can't hear you, buddy. Turn your mic on.
I said you got him good. Sorry about that. Good job.
Well, he wanted me to do a rant, so, you know, because he's a fan of the show, I thought I would oblige.
Yeah. Give the people what they want. Okay, so let me ask you a question. If Durant went to go play with the guys, what's that make Foxy?
It's different. San Antonio hasn't won anything before Fox get there unless you go back to the Tim Duncan, David Robinson era. So this is completely different. Fox joined a team that's a non-playoff team.
But
you can't compare the two.
Can't you a little bit? Because the writing's on the wall with Wemby. Those are the 2-3 spots that a lot of guys in the NBA want to be in.
You're forecasting what you think is going to be the future, but you don't know. We already knew that the Warriors were a championship caliber team because they had already won a championship.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Let's kick it. I love talking to this guy. Dirk, what's up, Dirk?
Hey, guys. Grant, you're going to feel real bad when you find out that guy's name's actually Kevin Durant. But just kidding. But
you know what? If that's the case, I will do a 10 to 15-minute apology, and I will make him feel like the king of Sacramento. I can promise you that.
Your next rant is on assumptions, how they make an ass out of you and me, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
If his name is really Kevin Durant, oh my God. Oh.
We need to see a birth certificate, though. Certified.
Hey, I wanted to call out
anything.
Keon Ellis. Something that one aspect of his game that I'm so impressed that he has developed is his ability not only to get.
Dirk, we're losing you, brother.
Dirk, what happened, buddy?
Dirk, we're going to put you back and come to you because you are always reliable. Louis, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Grant, miss you, man. Hey, I haven't ever called into this show, but I want to tell you I've been watching you for years. And after every game, me and my dad, we call each other because we watch the Kings game every night. And we say, man, we miss Grant, man. Love you, man. Miss the hell out of you guys.
Thank you.
I just wanted to call in and say, Ryno or Ryan, that was a good point that you brought up with the screen. You know, that's something I didn't really realize during the game. But I will say, those kind of things should come without practice. And I think that's something that hopefully they're pointing out to Zach LaVine as well. Is like, hey, you got to close that distance so you can get that defender away from you and make that distance. But I thought we saw a lot of positive things. I thought we saw a lot of fight. Obviously, the first quarter, you can't give up that big of a deficit, but I like to see the fight. And we'll see what happens with this new roster. If we can squeeze into a play-in, I think we can squeeze into a playoff. Love you, Grant. Miss you.
There's nothing that I'm seeing right now that would make me believe that this team's going to be in the playoffs. But that could change. But they're based on what I'm seeing right now with the schedule that the Kings have coming up. I don't see it. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I think playoffs are going to be pretty difficult. Play in, though, and who knows? Maybe you can make some noise at that point. Good. I love hearing from people like that. You know, the first guy that called up, and Grant, I was ready to hammer him, and he said legend instead of something else. I'm like, all right, now Louis, good job, guys. Proud of you. GP, what's up?
Hey guys, how you guys doing? I just wanted to say, great fight, like you're saying, from the team. I love to see that. Grant, how do you feel?
Man, we got a bad connection.
Oh,
That's terrible.
Oh, GP. All right, let's try Dirk one more time. Dirk.
All right, I'm on cellular now. So
About us having some practice time during.
All right, so I don't know where I left off, but Keon Ellis, man. One thing that I'm very impressed with that he's developed in his game is his ability now when he gets the steal in transition or on the fast break, he is always making the right decision. Have you guys noticed that? I would say that was a weakness a year or two ago in his game. What are your thoughts?
Ryno?
100%. I think he has made the right decision more times than not. He had a beautiful pass tonight to Keegan Murray on that break. So good observation, Dirk.
Yeah, and he had one situation where he kept it and scored the bucket. I would cringe 2 years ago on those situations. But I was at the game tonight. I want to hear your perspective, both of yours. How did Zach LaVine's fit look to you all now in his third game? Did it seem like he kind of found a little bit of a niche?
Dirk must be in the parking garage. Grant, how did Zach's fit look to you in his third game?
The thing that concerns me the most is he's an excellent three-point shooter. In the 3 games he's been with the Kings, he's been a terrible three-point shooter. Now, I know that that's part of being a shooter. You get hot, you get cold. But I'm not worried about Zach. His resume is sufficient enough that I'm not really worried about how Zach's going to play. I pretty much know how Zach's going to be. He's going to be just fine.
I think he's done really well at creating his own spots. He's a guy that thrives off of cutting. He's a guy that thrives off of coming off screens and being in motion. And the Kings haven't given him a lot of opportunities there. So I think it's been pretty good. But Grant, he needs a point guard. This team needs a point guard so bad.
Now, they're not going to find one this year.
And they just signed a 10-day contract, another shooting guard. Makes no sense. Let's go to Baki, all the way from Serbia.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up, dude?
Hey, Baki.
2 very short segments of my call today. Are you there? Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, about the game. This team is too talented to allow too much bad streaks. They show that tonight after doing -20, +20. So, okay, the defense is still a mountain to climb, but let's hope. About the tactics, some other time. And that's all about the game we're going to discuss next time. And the second thing, I want to thank you guys for the triple-double this weekend, and I will tell you why. The best rant, which is still repeating in my head. Ryno's best show ever last night. It was unbelievable like never before.
Thank you.
And this game, maybe not too quality one, but so fun. And for the end, maybe 5 seconds more. PK, I hope you took a lot of sugar and water during this game, bro.
You know what? Grant does not know about that. That is right.
Okay, you're
Good
gonna tell him.
job. I
Fill
will
me in.
tell him. I will tell him. Good job. So PK came into the Kings court and he said if the Pelicans do not, or if the Kings do not sweep the Pelicans in these 3 games, he's dropping a $500 bet it gift card, Grant. Think about how many New York Primes that's going to be for one of our viewers, Furious Wolf. He's dropping a $500 bet it's gift card on him.
Good job there, PK. Good
How
job,
about
buddy.
that?
I like that, PK. Good job.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, first leg down. We'll see.
Good job.
Dennis. Oh, here comes Dennis. Dennis the Menace. What's up, dude?
Hey, fellas. Light the beam.
Right the beam.
I'm just really happy with the first win. The whole group got together. The bench really showed up tonight. I'm really glad Doug went to them right away, obviously. My only thing is when we got down into the second quarter and they were in foul trouble, my only thing is I said to myself, well, we got size advantage against them. Why don't we run our 2 bigs and just attack them? And now am I thinking like, am I too old school for that? Or is that just the old school mentality that I'm used to from back in the day, where, you have 2 bigs and you just go down low, especially when you got a team in foul trouble and you just keep attacking them.
I think it depends on the situation. Dennis, playoffs maybe more likely, bigger teams maybe more like, or smaller teams than New Orleans maybe, but the Kings' advantage to me, even though you now have 2 bigs, is still the speed, and it's still getting out and making the game chaotic. Grant, you?
Chaotic is a very good term. I like the term chaotic.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Yep, you're the man, Dennis.
Dennis,
Good
thank
job.
you very much. Thank you very much. I don't understand some of the questions we get from people here. It's just stupidity. It really is. One thing that's not stupidity is Sunrise Landing. And Sunrise Landing in Calusa is the newest residential community. All right. And it is available right now for you to relocate and get one of these beautiful models with no Mellorews, no homeowners. This is from Blazona Development. Adjacent to the Calusa Golf and Country Club. It is easy to get to, whether it's I-5, Highway 45, Highway 20. Just go to CalusaSunrise.com and check out all of the information. Appreciate
Definitely.
everyone here. But
Yeah.
I tell you, some of the people with your questions, you're like, I don't know if you have a brain in your head. I really don't.
Yeah, somebody said that Sabonis is too physical. Interesting. Chris says, hey, Grant, I remember when Derek Dickey said Spud got tangled in a web, and you said only you could think of that, Dickey.
One of my best friends in life, Derek Dickey. Love that man. And we lost him way too soon. What a great, great, great man. What a great man.
If you are not subscribed yet to the channel, and many of you are, thank you, by the way. We just hit 8K. Amazing. But we had a post-game show where you shared a ton of stories about Dickey.
Oh,
and go check
the
it
best.
out. It is all right there for you. Just hit the QR code or scan the QR code, and you can find many shows. We've got to have how many post-game shows now?
Oh, a lot.
Ton.
And we got another one coming up on Monday. We got the Super Bowl tomorrow, so I hope everyone enjoys that. You've got at least a little reprieve for 48 hours before you play 3 games on the road. I got to tell you, and I'm going to also make this comment. The Kings are really, really lucky they played a bad team tonight. They're really lucky that this schedule has them playing bad teams right now, with the exception of Dallas, because they would not have won this game tonight against most of the teams in the NBA, in my opinion.
Every team that made deals at the deadline's dealing with the same problem, and there's other times where the easy ones pop up in better situations. So,
well, I don't know. I mean, the Lakers haven't had any problem. Dallas was able to win. Golden State.
They're better teams. They're better teams right now.
Well,
I get it. I guess here's the other way you look at it. You're going to see Zion in 2 or 3 games, and you've already knocked one down.
Yeah.
So
here's the team that's going to win the West this year. It's Oklahoma City.
Oh, yeah.
They got Chet Holmgren back, and he looks like he's in midseason form already. They went into Memphis tonight and won 125-112. Memphis is a damn good team. If the Thunder stay healthy, no one's beating them in the West this year.
I agree. Boston rolled New York, too, tonight
They
on
killed
national
New York.
TV.
And you know what? The buildup for that game is huge. And the Celtics went into Madison Square Garden, and it was like men against boys, 131 and 104.
Very, very quiet at MSG. So on Friday, I know we don't usually divert, but on Friday, I was talking about Super Bowl parties or do's and don'ts for Super Bowl parties. Do you have any advice to those either going to a party or holding a party?
Don't talk about politics.
Okay.
That's number one. Number two, if you are in an area where you're next to people that are genuinely watching the game and you can see that they really want to watch the game, don't get involved in a stupid conversation that takes their attention away from the game. All right? So, use some common sense.
All right.
If you end up sitting in a chair next to somebody who you can tell is really into the game, don't start making small talk. Let them watch the freaking game, would you please?
Those wings are really good. What do you think that sauce is?
I do not enjoy Super Bowl parties. I do not enjoy going to sports bars. I enjoy watching the game in the confines of my private area.
Would it be different if you weren't recognized?
No, because where I live now, nobody recognizes me, and I still don't enjoy going to sports bars because I'm tired. Here's my problem. So many of the people at sports bars have no idea what the hell they're talking about, and they make the stupidest comments, and I feel like going, you have no idea what you're talking about, but I don't. But I have to listen to it. I'm like, I don't enjoy it.
They have no idea who they're sitting next to in terms of sports knowledge and what you've done. I got it. I would say if you bring some beer, if you bring soda, you bring something to the party, it stays at the party. You don't leave.
No.
You don't leave with what you brought.
No,
Anything
come on.
left over?
You know people that do that?
Oh, Grant, it gets wild around this time of year. Absolutely. Okay, here's another one. What about chips and dip? Usually it's just one dip, but there's people that take the other end of the chip where their grimy little greasy fingers were just holding a chicken wing and say, well, my mouth wasn't on it, so let me dip the second end of that chip in there.
God.
Don't do that either.
No. Where are you watching the game tomorrow?
From home. I'm just gonna chill here, kick my feet up, and which way you going?
I'll tell you, my best experience of watching the Super Bowl was the first time that Philadelphia and Kansas City played. Okay, I was in Bangkok during the Super Bowl, and me and 9 buddies were in a upstairs VIP room of a cigar bar.
Oh.
At 6:30 in the morning is when the game started. We got there at 6. They had a breakfast buffet, cigars, drinks, beautiful leather chaise lounges, huge TV. And what was so odd about that, I remember walking into Whiskar's and it was dark out.
Wait. Like whiskey and cigars? Whiskar's?
Yeah, it's a whiskey cigar bar. It's phenomenal.
Okay.
It's called Whiskar's.
Okay.
So I remember walking in and it was dark, right?
Yeah.
and you don't. I didn't really, and the bar doesn't have any windows, so you don't really, as you're watching the game and you're hanging out, you don't really have like you're not being reminded that it's now the sun's come up and it's
Sure,
daylight, right?
sure.
And I remember walking out of there at like 10:15, 10:30 in the morning. And I was like, whoa, you know what I mean?
Oh
Like,
yeah, it just knocked
oh
on
my
your
God.
butt. Yeah.
It's like, I just watched the Super Bowl. It's 10:30 in the morning and the sun's out and it's hot. I'm like, oh my God.
What do I do
That
with
was,
myself?
that was actually a phenomenal experience with me and 8 or 9 buddies in Bangkok, Thailand, watching the Super Bowl at 6:30 in the morning on
That's
Monday.
freaking awesome.
How about that?
That is freaking awesome. The only thing better than that, than having Monday off, is watching the Super Bowl on Monday with it off. I love that. Okay, there's been this question. Very loyal viewer has been kicking this around. The chat is doing it right now. It's a little bit too cumbersome for you and I to get into, but I'm going to ask yours. They're asking your Kings Mount Rushmore.
We're talking about 4 players?
4 players.
Well, I'd have to think about this. Vlade Divac, 100% is my first one. Don't even have to think about that. Mitch Richmond is definitely on there. Do I go back to the 80s and take someone like Reggie Theus? Because Reggie is so ingrained in my mind, but didn't have success. A lot of people would say Chris Webber. The problem I have with Chris is he never played well in the playoffs, never played in the playoffs like he did during the regular season. And my other problem with Chris, he was more about Chris.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it would be hard not to put him on there. I mean, because he was an amazing talent. I mean, I almost have to. And then probably Mike Bibby. What about you?
You know what? So that was the interesting one for me. I was kicking around Bibby or Jason Williams, because you don't get Bibby without Jason Williams, and he really brought a different flavor to that Kings team, a different style, but I don't know that there's been anybody more clutch than Bibby. I remember, I think it was probably 2004, your back-to-back night calls. Bibby, the hero, on back-to-back nights. Oh boy, you know.
Wow, look at you.
There's just so many of those moments for Mike.
Yeah, it's very difficult to come up with 4. You know, I mean, I love Reggie. You know, Mitch has got to be on there. It's hard for me to say.
It's a good argument
I mean,
to have.
even though I saw a lot of the faults in Chris that others don't, I got to have Chris on there. I mean, I just have to. But there's a reason why Chris never won a championship anywhere he ever played. And that's, after getting to know him, that was very obvious to me. But I gotta have him on there. It would be wrong not to have him on there. So the 4th one's difficult. You have Vlade on there?
I do have Vlade on there.
Yeah, I have to have Vlade.
Yeah.
He's my first guy I'm putting on
No
there.
doubt.
So Vlade, Mitch, Webb, and then either I mean, there's Peja, there's Bibby, there's Bobby Jackson, right? Bobby would be a candidate.
Yeah, I gotta go Bibby. I gotta go Bibby over Jackson.
I know.
It's tough. Does this make Vlade's decision any different with what you've seen Dallas do with Luka?
I don't understand the question.
Everybody, Vlade didn't take Luka. Well, Dallas has now passed on Luka because of everything on the back end.
If Vlade had taken anyone other than Marvin Bagley, maybe we would be having a different conversation. If he had taken Jaren Jackson Jr., we'd be having a different conversation because he's a hell of a player, right?
Yeah.
So no, but I would say this. I remember, and I honestly don't remember if I was speaking with Vlade or some of the international scouts at a coffee shop one day in Sacramento before the draft. And it was known back then about his work habits. Now, let me also preface this by saying I am a results guy. I'm about results. You can't argue with Luka's results, can you?
No, they're there.
But you could look at the number of games he's missed this year and ask yourself, is it related to his diet, his weight, and his lack of work ethic during the season? Because this year, he came into camp in great shape. He had all these trainers, chefs, everything in the offseason. But during the year, he gained weight. And the Mavericks got increasingly frustrated with his weight gain as the season went on and his diet.
His wrist injury
had repeated calf strains, and you have to wonder, is it because he has too much weight on his frame? So it's a fair point to make.
His wrist injury was more about him losing weight. They wanted him to shed some pounds, and he missed, I want to say, Tim McMahon talked about it, 2 to 3 weeks, 4 weeks to lose a couple of pounds. It's crazy in season.
By the way, for all of us, or for those of you who are saying Vlade over Chris is bad, I will tell you that every member of the Sacramento Kings that played in the era of Vlade would choose Vlade to have on the team over Chris. Every one of them. Nobody would choose Chris over Vlade.
I don't think that team's a family that they were if it wasn't for Vlade.
They would have never achieved anything without Vlade Divac. No way. And Chris's success in Sacramento was largely in part to Vlade Divac.
That's such a good point.
Vlade kept Chris in line. Vlade knew how to work with Chris. Vlade knew how to settle Chris down. Vlade knew how to talk to Chris. Vlade knew how to make Chris feel special. That locker room would have been a disaster without Vlade Divac.
But you could also argue almost the same on the court, the way that Vlade was able to spread it for Chris.
And Doug used to tell me this. Doug said, hey, I wasn't stupid. If I was on the court and I realized that Chris had not touched the ball in the last 2 possessions, no matter who he had on him, I was throwing him the ball, because if not, Chris would go ballistic. So, there are little things like that.
I've never seen somebody that's just handled things consistently as poorly as Chris has handled, like, major things. Like, you'd think you'd learn from something, the whole Fab Four thing, and it just snowballs and snowballs.
Chris is a perpetual liar.
Yeah.
Even as an adult, he lies. He is the most unreliable human being I've ever been around in terms of dealing with commitments. It's unbelievable. Like, a commitment doesn't mean anything to him. He'll tell you he's going to be there and he's going to do something, and then he's not there, and then you can't even get a hold of him, Even something as important as the Play to Win tour, where Carmichael Dave drove across the country, they had it all set up to have Chris in Atlanta, blah, blah, blah. Chris blew him off, couldn't even get a hold of him.
It's insane.
That's typical of Chris. He didn't care. He didn't care about your time. He didn't care about commitments. I had Jason Hare on my show, who I've gotten to know very well. He's the director of The Last Dance, the Fab Five, and Down in the Valley, which unfortunately was not aired on ESPN about Sacramento. And he came on my show and talked about how for the Fab Five, they couldn't get Chris on. And Chris came out and lied and said they never got a hold of me. And Jason actually showed documentation of emails and text messages and everything else. And Jason was so irate that he came on my show and called out Chris Webber and blatantly called him a liar on my show. I said, I know. And then he said when he was able to get a hold of him for The Last Dance, Chris never put 2 and 2 together. He didn't realize that was the same guy that was trying to get up. Yep. How about that?
You just can't. You lose track of all the stuff you're covering. Yeah, that's insane.
There's nothing worse than an adult who continually lies and lies and lies. I understand it as an adolescent. I get it. I lied as an adolescent. Your mind's not thinking, and that but as an adult, don't lie as an adult over and over and over again.
What were some little Napes lies?
The what?
What were some little Napes lies?
Did I go to this class? Did I eat my lunch that my mom made for me? Did I chew any gum at school? Because I always had gum. The stupid stuff,
Oh yeah. Everything that we do as little ones, no doubt. Louis wants to make. Oh, he's gone. Never mind. Louis was saying that we always get dominated at power forward. Look, I think it's really hard, and I'll kick this to you to match up each of our players who are starting in a position with other teams' players who are starting at the same position, because there's an argument every single player on this team is starting out of position to a degree.
Very true. Very true. Starting with your point guard.
Yeah.
Ryno, enjoy the Super Bowl tomorrow, buddy.
I will. You as well. Who are you taking?
It's hard to go against Kansas City, so I'm taking them.
Yeah, me too. I can't go against 15. And I don't want Jerry to... I want Jerry to get 3 rings in a row. That'd make him happy.
Hey, I appreciate every one of you. Monday is the next time we will be talking when the Kings take on the Mavs. Do us a favor, would you please? If you have not already done so, please subscribe to the channel. We would greatly appreciate it. And if you wouldn't mind to take 1 second and hit that thumbs up button, that icon with the thumbs up. If you like the content, please give us a thumbs up. We'd greatly appreciate it. We'll see you, Ryno. Have a good day tomorrow. Enjoy the game.
You too, Napes. And those looking for the middle finger button, program developers are still working on it, y'all. So thumbs up will have to do.
Hang in there. You never know. It could be soon.
Love you all. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Be safe.
Yeah, I'll enjoy it at 6:30 in the evening instead of 6:30 in the morning. All right. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.